worked, and then I tried to add some extra things in to make it more efficient, and everything broke. And I've been scrambling to find where I left off where it was last working, and it's finally there. So there's been a lot of work gone on by many people in many different areas, but the key thing is moving stuff into the agent application so that agents that's running inside actually have agency, because right now we are curating all the inputs and outputs and very programmatically controlling it, because we struggled initially with letting it do its own thing. So what we have now, not yet merged, but after this should be, is a set of tools that let an agent control Docker Compose. And the best way to explain it is going to be if we pick an example, and we'll do a full screen here, and we'll just pull over. It won't pull over. Why not do that? Anyway, this is a trace. This is a trace of Docker Compose that I intentionally broke, and then I brought up the plugin. So it comes in a broken state, because I, as the user, like to fiddle with things and break things, which previously would have been quite a pain in the ass for us. And so the first thing, this is all decisions made by the LLM. So it starts up, it's been given its prompt, and it goes, okay, well, I need to know what the YAML is. So it reads it and it gets it. And I want to know what state the current project's in. Oh, okay, it's actually running fine, but it will have read this and gone, but this isn't right, because I've sneakily broken it while it's running, left the running thing okay, but the actual config is broken. And I was very surprised to see it manages to fix this, because it looks like everything's fine, but actually it's not. The next time you restart it, it will break. And it goes, okay, I see stuff to do with Prisma, Postgres, Kafka, Redis. I'm going to ask for your opinions on how to do this. And this is the stuff we've had previously that we used to create and curate. Like, we'd create this stuff for the LLM. This has been inverted now onto, we can offer opinions, and then the LLM goes, okay, I'll read those, let's move on. It finally decides, given that the YAML was wrong, but what was running was okay, it asks to read what's actually running, like what's the applied YAML from when it was working. So it gets that, and then it makes a decision on changing it. So this is the new YAML. It's saying, I want to write this out. This is the new Docker Compose. And if I scroll down here, you'll see there's a nice dot there, and you'll see that says 3.9.0. If I scroll back up to the read and expand it out, you will see, oh no, that one was fine. Where was the broken bit? Oh, there we go. I broke it in this way. I changed the context to be nonsense and the doc file to be nonsense. And I put a very subtle thing in. Where is it? Alpine. There you go. So instead of Alpine, it's Alpine. And throughout all of this, it has indeed managed to fix those two things. And that's fine. Then it goes, okay, let's spin down the old one, even though it's fine, because I've just had to fix this. I need to verify it. And then it goes, I'm going to spin it up. And then it gets back the output. And this table doesn't read to it. If I do formatted, there we go. Why wasn't I just doing that? It gets back this lovely table that shows it. Everything's healthy. It reads that. And then it decides it's done. And it summarizes it. And it tells you what it spotted and what it did. And it got it perfectly. This runs in the background automatically in the agent. And Docker Compose is there and running and ready and always going, unless, of course, it just cannot get it working, in which case it's going to put out into the logs that Diogo will be streaming, thanks to the work that Sodi did. But otherwise, this is there. It's good to go. It's ready. There's no more, I spin up Docker Compose and it's not working. It will it will just run it and make sure it runs until it realizes it can't. And then it won't touch it until either you, the user, want to diagnose it. You explicitly go, look, you think it's fine, there's a problem, here's what. Or you trigger a reindex, and a reindex is pessimistic at the moment. It will just assume it needs to be rebuilt, and so it will. And yeah, that removes the need for any of this in the front end, and obviously it's more of a startup cost, but it's a cost of time you'd be spending anyway, but doing manually back and forth with the agent. And also all the diagnose stuff to do with this is basically gone, because the agent has all the tools it needs to interact with Docker Compose, and it decides what it, based on the tools you've given it, what it can do. It decides what to do. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
How long did that whole process take? Was it 7.34 seconds? Or no, sorry.
No, it was much
54 seconds.
Yeah, I'll need to put that's it at. It is 53 seconds. So a lot of this isn't all the LLM doing stuff, but you'll see, for example, 22 seconds of it was just actually waiting for the environment to go down and come up. And that might feel like, oh, but Docker Compose only used to take like 10 seconds to generate, but you would have to spin it up and spin it down. That's time that is going to cost you anyway. In reality, this is all happening the moment the index is finished and you've started up. So by the time you actually choose an endpoint to test, it will be there and ready to go, typically. And obviously what's wants to come next is going to be doing this, but for the scenarios. So that's going to get started tomorrow. Yeah, Sean.
Sorry. So this is triggered automatically. It's not triggered when they run the test or when they click run the test. It's updating in the background.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason for this is because there is a Docker Compose for a workspace that needs to be generated. Like that is, it's a crucial part of the whole thing. We can't do without it. There's no point in actually waiting for it to be manually triggered or delaying it. The sooner it's up, the better. The sooner we know there's a problem, the better. And likely it will feel almost like it was there anyway, because again, by the time you take action to try something, it's more than likely been 50, 60 seconds. Now, what else was the thing? This was actually all triggered from the IDE extension of actually doing this for once. And I was going to do live the whole bring it up, it's going to index, and then do some tests. But because I scuffed stuff up, that took a while, and then so I just had this running until it actually worked. So this is, I guess, just kind of proof that this is with the Anish's changes and my backend changes running locally on my machine. And as you can see, the IDE, the extension has done nothing with Docker Compose, and yet somehow it still has managed to run scenarios. And that's because it is there and it is all working. Yeah, I mean, there's probably no point in doing it live, but a lot of these, the tracing is obviously getting better and better. Thank you, Antoine. But you can see all sorts of different sort of paths that it will choose to take. We could potentially, let me have a think. We could potentially on that, and then maybe we'll see it take a different path. You would hope it would. So I've not fiddled with anything or broken anything, right? Ideally, what you would want out of this once it kicks off, which should be soon, I would hope. This is why I don't give things live. It is there, it just doesn't have a name yet. You would hope that, I'm crossing my fingers here, it's not going to do anything stupid. It might not. Maybe it will change it to make it tidy. No, it's already done. That's ideal. Let's look at what it says. That's not it. Here we go. Configuration is already running and it matches the requirements, and it just reassures you with that. And that's what you want to see. So even though reindex happened, it's realized nothing's changed, but it did check it. How did it check it? It checked what the running status was, what was the YAML that's there, what are the opinions we offer, and then it's gone, okay, more container level, how are those? Okay, they're all healthy. And then this is the crucial one, is it reads the applied config. So you have the YAML that's on disk, you have the YAML that was actually applied that's running right now. Obviously, once it's running, I can change that YAML, fiddle with it. And this is the thing I was surprised by. It gave it these two tools for these two different things, and it is actually making that correct decision to go, yes, it's right on disk, but is what's on disk actually running? Oh, it is. Cool. Nothing to do then. We're done. Which is good. It'll be hopefully.
Yeah, that solves that really painful problem. Yeah.
And then next is SQL and scenarios. We'll be getting this treatment next once this is merged and tidied, stabilized.
Yeah.
And then we should see far fewer. And then the only need for like the diagnose is more like that guidance feedback, which would be really, we should only see failures when it actually is unreasonable to be asking it to do something because it can't get enough context, or we haven't got a good enough RAG yet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Nice. Just a question about Docker Compose. So so we generate a Docker Compose with all the services we find, right?
Say again, sorry. Diego just was complaining about my VS Code thing. It's very insulting and distracting.
No, I'm just saying that we generate the Docker Compose with all the services we find in the repo, right? So if they have like a Postgres, Redis, whatever, Elastic, we try to, and then do we try to spin them all up every time, or is there like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There is no fine-grained indexing on which code paths actually touch which external services.
Okay.
The indexing detects which are potentially there, as well as the code context in which they get used.
Mm-hmm.
And then the compose generation make a high-level decision. Although again, I haven't tested this, but this is the intention, is just because there's the potential for, say, Kafka, it might be that there's a Kafka client library in tests, and maybe that then it would make the decision to not wire in Kafka. But yes, it will. I've actually, as part of this, I put in, so this is something I put in the opinions. I'll share again actually, because this is relevant to what you're saying. Because this is running locally, typically we should be able to pick reasonable values for running. And so it didn't do it this time actually. It was smart enough to decide how much memory the application needed last time. But we are constraining the resources down now, whereas before they weren't. So for local development, this is at least capped at a certain amount of memory they'll use, but they will all spin up.
Yeah, cool. All right.